Here to talk about their plans with Nokia and Ovi are Michael Halbherr and Christof Hellmis. Please welcome them up.
All right, there we go.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. What we want to talk about today, and I have Christof with me who runs the platform, because we do a little bit of technology swapping videos and demos, is to start talking about how we're going to open up maps on the mobile as well on the web. So if you have a quick look at where we have been 2 years ago and what we have achieved in 2 years. So we have essentially, when we were acquired through the Gate 5 acquisition, there was one device with GPS. And when people ask me, when will every phone have a GPS? My answer is quite simple. The question is not when will it have a GPS, when it will have a GPS and a compass. So I think it's clear all phones going to have locating technologies, and GPS is going to go all the way down to the low end. We expect to ship close to 100 million GPS devices with Nokia Maps, and every other one has cell-based positioning, so Nokia Maps is going to ship across a wide, I would call it fraction of our device portfolio, which is more than 450 million devices per year. So we really have built a large contextual platform with mapping in 170 countries, navigation in more than 80, GPS in close to 100 million handsets this year, and the application is growing steadily in use. As an example, Maps is pretty much an essential element of a phone, so many of our colleagues will not ship a phone before we are ready with the new map release. And that's quite a stark change to a device company who 2 years ago couldn't care much whether the app is ready or not. Then we have about 90% of the users that get Nokia Maps on a handset to actually activate, and more than 50% retain it in multiple uses per week. So we really have created a very, very robust global platform. I would say it's the largest contextual platform. The joint NAVTEC, which is a fully owned company of Nokia, and the device investment from the GPS, we're talking high hundreds of millions investment that Nokia takes per year to build this global contextual platform. Now what we're trying to do is to say, hey, we are an infrastructure company, a branded infrastructure company. We want to unleash innovation on top. We made this announcement 2 weeks ago in Monte Carlo, which we invited basically developers to submit their ideas to develop applications on the mobile. And we've had a lot of reception and a lot of ideas, and in due course we'll open up the platform for everybody else. So go visit the website or go to our booth to look at the mobile stuff. But what we really want to talk about today is actually much more web related. Yes, Nokia is a mobile company, but we believe that we are going to be one of the top internet company when it comes to mapping. So yes, we're having hundreds of million devices who create objects, who use mapping on a daily basis and dump objects into the Ovi cloud. We want to make it easier for these people also to consume those objects, to pre-plan their routes, to post-consume stories and traces they have recorded on the PC. That's why today we have relaunched maps.ovi.com. It's still in beta. There's a lot of things that will still change. But you will see a very interesting mapping technology that starts with a very simple tile server and then moves to the plugin. But I will actually hand over to Christof to give you a little demo of how that really works.
Yes, thank you, Michael. As said, what I want to give you a little bit of demo is of our new version of Nokia Maps or Ovi Maps on the web. Why I'm showing this is nothing, to be honest, to get utterly excited about having another mapping and routing website. There are a number of them out there already, but we want to show and drive to some points which are important because, as Michael said, it's about opening up to the developer community in the ecosystem. So, and this serves a little bit as a demonstration what you and others will be able to do when using our components and enablers. So when you go to maps.ovi.com, a new change is now you start with a simple tile server. Those of you who have tried it in the past needed to download a plugin. Now it's a simple tile server, and you can use it like any other routing or mapping website. So you can look for the hotel here in San Jose, the Fairmont, where we are. As you see, the search is an auto-completion look-ahead search, so it's very convenient to find those places. Or you can also look for some kind of other famous locations like the Brandenburg Gate. This is where, Gate 5, that's still with the Renaissance. The Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, so pretty standard stuff. Nothing to get excited, you can route. You even have the weather, it seems to be nice in Berlin tonight, and also over the coming day, because tomorrow is a holiday, so I expect the colleagues are all out in the beer garden. Now, what it makes it really attractive and differentiated is if you start to endeavor in the more interactive experience, and for example, I click on the 3D button, and I want to enable the interactivity, the 3D functionality that we provide. Now, what the user would have to do, he would simply have to download the plugin. As you see here, it's a standard, like an ActiveX plugin. It downloads, installs, and what it really installs, it's the core engine that not only runs then in a plugin in the browser, it's essentially what runs on our mobile devices as well. So it's the same code base, it's the same, runs on the same kind of data set. It fetches the data from the same servers as our mobile devices do. And as you now see here, it doesn't look any different except for the fact that I now have a full interactive experience. It now loads a little bit let me do a refresh. Sometimes it stuck a little bit and it's too much in the background. It loads now the map vector data into the browser, into the plugin as it does now, and you will see that you will endeavor into a completely different mapping experience. Should fetch the data. Let's see, as always, it worked before. Here we go. So, and if we go now, for example, at the same location where we have been before, the Fairmont Hotel in San Jose, where we are right now, you can see that it looks now completely in a different mapping experience. It's much more interactive. It will fetch the vector data. And if I put this aside, you will see that I'll have now fetched the vector map data, and you saw already the first elements, which are, for example, 3D landmark. And I can put the whole thing in a 3D perspective. To be quite frank, it's not real 3D yet. We're working on this. But you can see here, and you have the full interactivity of a plugin running all the data, the vector data, rendering it locally in the browser. So this you can do, of course. You can do other elements. You can add overlays on top, like the satellite or the terrain data, which we did. Coverage is increasing nearly every day as we speak. So this is all pretty standard, but the key is that it really runs in a plugin. It fetches the data. I could even unplug now the cable and cut the network connection, would still continue to run. So in a way, it's the mashup that we ourselves as OV Maps do on top of on our own platform. Maybe one more thing to highlight is where we invested a lot in the past together with our partners Navtech is in the area of specifically collecting data and content for the pedestrian use case. And to illustrate this, very simple, we can do a simple route in Harvard, Square. So let's go there and find it in Cambridge. Here's a parking garage. So I go over there, and as you see, let's switch back to the normal map mode. What you see here is, zooming a little bit further in, you can see in Cambridge, if I zoom in, a lot of walkways that are in the university area. So if I really want to do a pedestrian route, normally what you would do, you would say, okay, I start my route over here and get a add to route. So I add this point, plus take the other part where I want to go, potentially is up here, and then say, okay, add this position to the route as well. So add it here, and then it calculates a route. Now what you see is this is a standard car route, and this is what most of other mapping platforms do, using street vector data, but not specifically for pedestrian use. Since we collect a lot of extra data, if I go into the walk mode, you see that it will do the route using the walkways, which will lead you through the Harvard University, which is much more nice and exciting. But what is also important for us, and this is already live since a few months, and we have a lot of users using it, you can save these route and definition and places if you sign into OVI into a collection, as you see at collection. I'm not going to do it now because it just takes a little time, doesn't give you any extra benefit. But this is what users are doing today. So they store their objects in our OVI cloud, and when they start Nokia Maps on the phone, they sync it, and they have the same kind of routes, locations, collections on their mobile device. So this is what is new. This is now what we bring to you also as part of our developer offering, and I think it's now up to open really the stage for the next step. This is what we really announced today, and this is what the event for us is about today. And I hand over now to Michael to do now the next part.
So when you look at this, what you can see is that when we let's go forward here. This is basically the website you have seen. What we have done is we have essentially said, when you look at this, there is a component in there that actually is something that you can reuse on any website. It's not just mapping, it's really the whole services on top, the whole cloud syncing, the weather services and whatever. We want to make this available to third-party developers. We have a couple of partners we already work with. This is actually a very simple news channel that you put on the map done by Associated Press. You can see this. You can even see that pretty much the code that you have for this web application can be almost reused entirely on the mobile, which is also going to be web runtime based when it comes to the third-party APIs. Now, to build this type of application is essentially a day or two. So it's very simple to integrate the map player, as we call it. And I think we want to run a video now to basically show how this works.
Hi, my name's Sunny, and I'm working here with the Maps development team in Berlin. I'm going to talk to you today about the Map Player API. The Map Player API is a set of simple interfaces which allow you to create your own mapping application. This application can be used to enrich existing services with location information, or you can build your own services on top of it. One of our main objectives was to create a simple platform. Simple enough so that with one line of code, a blogger or a non-developer person can just embed an out-of-the-box product into their website. So the real cool feature of the map player is the 3D mode. And you have to see this in two different perspectives. One is the user's perspective, the other is the developer's. From a user's point of view, you can discover the map, changing the viewing angle and the orientation, and you can see 3D landmarks across the map. And from a developer's perspective, you can move to different positions in the map and changing these settings, setting the viewing angle and the orientation. Moving between different points is also animated. So a developer can say, move from this point to another using one of our two animations. One is an arc animation, which flies you through the map, and the other is just a straight transition. Our APIs will allow you to customize the map to your service. You can change the map settings, maybe giving it a night mode, day mode, 3D mode, 2D mode. This is just the first step of many for the map player. We want you creative people to help us take our platform to another level.
Lonely Planet is this fantastic company that was set up over 35 years ago by Tony and Maureen Wheeler when they backpacked across Asia and created the first book across Asia on the cheap, and that was back in 1973. Mapping has been vital to Lonely Planet's history right from the very first book. The great thing about digital and maps is that we can start to do some really great interactive things like taking our hostel information, putting it on the map and working out exactly where you are in relation to that hostel and how you can get there, and so that you can also see what's around that hostel as well. The features I love about Ovi Maps is the way that it works between the browser and the mobile phone, and it's just so easy to get something to look right in the browser and on the mobile, and the 3D view is great.
AKQA is primarily an ideas company. We work with some of the biggest clients in the world, and what we really love to do is push the boundaries, be it visually through to technically. Location-based stuff is huge for us at the moment. Now, Ovi Maps, we loved Ovi Maps when we saw it. It is so simple to integrate. It lets my developers focus on just getting functionality out and innovating rather than worrying an awful lot about the complexities of how the API is structured. It's simple to use. It's beautifully designed. It looks good out of the box, but it also lets us, manipulate it and make it our own. So our clients love this.
Okay, so we have a hands-on developer session later today. I think it's at 12:30. You should go and check, particularly the dynamic features of the map player. That's why we call it a player. You can feed it scripts, and with the scripts, it flies all over the map. So where are we heading with this one? So what you can see here is the map player becomes a browser to the Ovi cloud. So you essentially can go to any website, Lonely Planet, Associated Press. You can start collecting location-aware objects. You sync it to the cloud, and then you have hundreds of millions of handsets with one click get access to that. So you essentially really have the bridge between the mobile cloud and the internet. So basically you will have an ability to go like a little kangaroo to pouch objects in the internet, then go to your Nokia device and see it. That's essentially what this is all about. It's essentially the way for us to harvest the innovation in the internet. The map player is the element, maps.ov is our reference implementation. And the benefit for developers, of course, is quite simple. It's a very interactive, playful map technology, and it gives them access to basically hundreds of millions of new devices shipped per year, and eventually billions, because that's what the Nokia footprint is globally. So basically, that's all we had to say is go to our website and check it out. Get to play with the map player on the web as well as on the mobile. That's the announcement of us opening up quite a pervasive global mapping platform. Thank you.